Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Claire Renee. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please do look around, like, comment. This video is basically 5 asanas that you will most likely see in any yin yoga class that you take. You'll see me in 5 different poses explaining what's supposed to be going on, and I'll be adding any kind of modifications that can help ease some of the poses for some people that can't get into them as deep. So I hope that you enjoy and find this useful. Here they are. So we're starting with Sphinx pose, which is you can have the legs as wide as you would like behind you. I like to keep them somewhat wide. You can bring them further in if you'd like. Now you saw me collapse. That's what we don't want to do. We want to roll the shoulders back down the spine. Aim to get the elbows underneath the shoulders. If that is taking the back bend a little too far for you, just reach the arms out in front of you just to take off a little of the pressure on the lower back. Also, we're focusing on breathing deeply into the chest and the upper back here. It's a great heart opener. To release, you just reverse out of the pose. So here we are going to find butterfly pose. Now you see me grabbing a block or a bolster, either or. I'm using my bolster in this scenario. And I used either or to just prop my seat up a little bit and raise the hips. If this is for someone with tight hips, or if you just feel a little tight in the beginning of class, it's totally on you if you just want to raise the hips a bit. Now in this position, we usually reach the hands out in front of us. This is great for the inner groin, improving hip flexibility. It's great for the lower back, and just rounding that spine. Once again, it's totally okay to round the spine and let go of that back in these poses. Gently roll up, take your time to come out of that pose. Now here we are in half butterfly. Just a different rendition of the pose. We're taking that inside foot to the inside of our opposite thigh. Now you saw me reach over. That is one way that you can go about approaching this pose, or like we did in the first pose, you can reach your hands out until you feel like you're at a good space. Once again, I'm showing you that that back is curved. It's totally okay. You saw me grimacing before. Do not try and reach for the heel or reach for the toes in this stretch. That's not the kind of stretch that we're going for with yin yoga. We're not trying to pull ourselves down towards our legs. We're letting gravity do the work here. I like to place the palms up just so I don't do any, tensing up or trying to reach unintentionally. And we come up the same way. Just gently take your time. Now this last rendition of it, you see me grabbing my blocks. This is reclined butterfly. So we're on our backs, soles of the feet together, just like they would be in regular butterfly sitting up. If you would like to use the blocks, I like to place them underneath the knees. Totally fine if you don't want to use the blocks and just let the knees fall and let gravity have its way. You can place the hands on the belly. You can place it to the side of you with the palms up, ready to receive. Hands on the heart, or one hand on the heart, and the other on the belly. Whatever is comfortable for you here. And you're really just focusing on that breath, really allowing the hips to open, and you will feel those knees start to drop closer and closer towards the floor. Now it's important that you gently come out of this. I like to take the hands to the outside of the legs and gently pull the knees in. Now here is caterpillar. Once again, our hands are walking out in front of us. We started sitting up tall and we just had the feet in front of us. I like to do about a hip's width distance. Now remember, you don't want to tense up here, so don't, try and do that whole reach, bring my chest down to my knees. That's not what we're aiming for. Once again, my palms are up, so I don't have to focus on trying to tense up or reach towards my heel or trying to grab my toes. If the rounding of the back here gets uncomfortable for your neck, I like to place a block here. It's just not even a modification, but just a comfort thing. If you're more comfortable with just having something there, totally use a block. If not, you can just keep your body where it is. And it's imperative that you take your time coming out of this. Usually we hold caterpillar, I like to at least, for 3 minutes to 5 minutes. So it's important to come out gently. Now here you see me from all fours, or you can do this from downward facing dog. You see me bringing that foot in between my hands, right? But see where I'm wrong right here. I want you to see that. My knee is way past my toes. What we want is to take that foot a little further in front. It's okay to correct yourself and get that knee above the ankle, right? So from there, if you feel like you're a little tight in this baby dragon at first, totally cool. Take your blocks, figure out where your body needs to be, open up that chest, make sure that back hip is dropping naturally and letting gravity take it closer towards the floor, right? This is giving us a nice, beautiful stretch in the front of the hips, great for our lower back as well, great for the hip flexor. If you spend a lot of time sitting or have any kind of sciatic pain, this is really a good help to get some relief and release in that hip. Now, for some people, depending on the mat you have and the thickness, sometimes you can feel a little bit of that pressure on the back knee. It's totally fine to fold up that mat or use a blanket just for a little padding so that you can actually hold the pose. Once again, even if you're not using the blocks, keeping that chest as open as you can. Now to release, take your time, come back to all fours or downward facing dog. Now here you see me from all fours, or you can do this from downward facing dog. You are going into a swan pose here, which is pigeon pose, as most know in vinyasa. I'm shaking my head here because you don't want your weight on either side. You want it in the center. Now I'm also showing you that if you're not as restricted as me, it's totally fine to have that shin perpendicular to the mat. That's actually what we're aiming for. If you're like me, you can totally bring that foot closer to the groin though if you need to. Now I'm also gonna say use those blocks here. This is a pose that is great for the hips, requires minimal effort as long as you use this pose and find it in the way that you need to find it for your body. I'm also bringing a block as a modification. If I want to make this easier and not go all the way down for such a deep stretch, you can rest your forehead on the block here. Keeping that back leg extended, making sure those hips stay square, taking your time to come out of the pose, gently coming up. I like to gently take my time releasing the block, pulling the foot back, down into all fours. Circling the hips is a good way to release from this pose. Also, I sometimes do child's pose after this. Now this is another version of the same pose. It's just seated swan. So if at any point swan, the way we just did it, does not work, come here, start here. See what this brings you. You take that foot on top of the knee. Make sure that foot is flexed, that you have bent, right? Now, if even that is a little too much for you and it feels like a lot, try taking a block underneath that foot that was on the ground, placing it underneath that, then see if you get, a little less intense of an experience. Now, the last version of this is reclined swan, which is basically taking a figure four with your legs. Of course, that foot that you have bent is still flexed. We do that flex to protect our knee. Now you can take the hands around that knee that you are pulling in, or you can take it underneath and hold like the back of the thigh. And if you want to make this easier at all on you, prop the head up a little bit, take a block underneath the head, and just hold it there. And that's a great way to just take a little bit of the distance out of it so that the stretch isn't as intense if it is a little tight for you or you're a little restricted. And these are all the versions of swan pose. Once again, you always release from the poses gently and slowly. There's no rush in yin, so always take your time releasing a pose. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions about any of the asanas, please do leave a comment below. If you want to say hi, leave a comment below. And remember to like, comment, subscribe. Be well, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next video. Namaste, friends. Bye.